Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are this morning. The world has opened back up, and I don't have to sneak on stage anymore. I still have my mask with me for when I go outside, as I hope all of you do. My buddy Peggy Burton's back on the set with us again this week.
I'm actually glad to be here.
You glad to get out of the house?
Nice to get out of the house, yeah.
You look like you've had a haircut since I saw you
I've had
last.
a haircut. Lord knows one more day, and I'd have to get a dog collar.
I'm getting one this afternoon.
I have to hand it to the beauticians that were out of work.
Sure.
And I had to ask myself, well, who cuts all these important people's hair? They seem to look good.
Well, that's depends on just how important you are.
I guess so. Maybe you have your own personal hairdresser.
One thing about what we are still going through, don't kid yourself, folks. This is not over with.
No, we got to be careful.
Don't be stupid and go out and think, oh, okay, everything's all right. It's not, because people are acting that way, and the cases have grown.
Oh, yeah.
But, of course, we're doing more testing. So that it might not be because...
Have you ever been tested?
No, my brother was tested. You can go right across the street from us to the health department
clinic and get tested.
On Cedar Lane, our National Guard's over there giving tests.
Maybe I should do that.
All they got to do is give you a swab, and my brother found out the next day. They called him and told him he was negative.
Well, I think Tullahoma has, our mayor and everything has reacted well to the pandemic here.
And we've done well.
But it's not through. It's not done. We have to be careful.
But you have an opportunity here to make an intelligent choice. And you can go out and you can go in a place, and the restaurants, the health department says that wearing a mask in a restaurant, if you're a worker there, is a choice.
Yeah.
But do you want to be somewhere where people aren't in masks? That's your choice.
Your choice, exactly.
I know some of the restaurants, everybody's wearing gloves and masks. Some of the other ones, they're not. You get to make the choice of where you want to go and take your chance of staying well.
I don't know. It's frightening, though, to
Still,
a lot of people.
it is, and it will
we
be.
need to always take it seriously. But anyway, I hear about it so much, it's making me crazy.
Well, and it's made everybody crazy, and everybody wants to put it behind, but it's not behind, and we've got to be smart.
Absolutely.
We've got to be smart, and
I
what's
do have
making
my
it
mask.
hard?
My mask is right over there.
What's making it hard is planning. I know Fran and I were trying to plan some events for Alzheimer's Tennessee on into the fall. Well, you don't know whether this will be over. You don't know when the weather cools off that there will be a resurgence of it. We've got a country show to try to put on.
We've got a country show, and at the moment, and Beverly Long has a dance recital to put on, I believe it's the first week in June. Anyway, we're going ahead as usual.
Sure.
And then if all of a sudden we can't do it, well, we can't do it. Do you follow me?
Sure.
We just go ahead and do the best we can, and hopefully it comes off. But I think that people can sit in the audience in a mask if they want to.
Well, they probably will, but what can happen is, I know I was in the restaurant the other night, or stopped by there, and they had every other table had two chairs sitting in the middle of it. Nobody could sit there.
See, I think that's smart.
And South Jackson Civic Center can take every other seat and mark it where nobody can sit in it. So how's everybody going to see the show? Well, you do it one more day.
Well, one more
and
day.
Let people say, okay, you only get to come once.
My plan was, there are some families, let's say you're doing Beverly Long's dance recital, because they do come in families.
Sure.
And they're living together already, so why can't they all sit together and then put a couple of seats and then put another family? I just have it all figured out.
Well, that's good, but and then people will
Doesn't mean I have the reign over what it's going to be.
People will have to be smart.
We do hope that we can open up in June and sort of continue as usual.
It'll never be the same as usual. Our whole world, it will be changed because of this.
Well,
things will go back. Some things will go back to, obviously, being able to go to a theater or to a show and be close to each other. But that won't happen until there's some kind of cure or or something that makes you be able to either not get it or get over it before
Right.
that's going to happen.
But anyway, we live in a world where you don't know one day to the next if you're going to have cancer, if you're going to have
Oh, no.
a lot of things, and we need to always be careful
Sure.
and be watchful. And
But we weren't.
anyway, God
We'd
bless
gotten
those
arrogant.
workers out there that continue getting the garbage, that continue doing the roads, that continue, the health people, of course, all across the nation.
Keep the shelves stocked.
People that not once have had a chance to take a month or two off, like some of us. I mean, obviously, I'm old and retired and
You're not old.
and tired. Instead of retired, we'll say tired. But yeah, honestly, we've had a lot of wonderful people that have given beyond measure their time and efforts.
Sure. You know, I heard something I've heard it several times about what's happening and about how products, and you're talking about essential workers,
Right.
you know, it's been hard to keep up. It's the food distribution chain. You know, it's hard to switch over from spending 50% of the food to restaurants and 50% to stores, you know, and all of a sudden you've got all those trucks that go one place and you can't switch them to go to the other place in a week.
That's right.
And factories are off and stuff. But one thing is, and I've heard this said several times, the land never stops.
You're right. The
And
land never
so
stops.
I heard that and I like that. So
you've written this up?
yeah. From
Okay.
beef to barley, pork to peas, when the cock crows, farmers work doggedly, plowing plots, hoeing rows. Where the ground bought with blood yields livestock and crops, society may skip some beats, but the land never stops. The land never stops as long as someone cares. That's why generations of farmers have been there. Stewards of the gifts that this earth provides, they plan and grow what it takes for us to survive. Stocks drop, walls fall, doors lock, the bubble pops, while farmers run from sun to sun. The land never stops. It gives and gives and gives for everything that lives, walks, crawls, or flies, from the bottom to the top. We all exist because the land never stops. As long as someone cares, that's why generations of farmers have been there. Stewards of the gifts that this earth provides, they plan and grow what it takes for us to survive. Stocks drop, walls fall, doors lock, the bubble pops. While farmers run from sun to sun, the land never stops. Production lines are dark, store doors are locked, while singers sing in sheds and shops. The land never stops.
That's beautiful. I would tribute that to my father, who was a farmer.
Yeah, well, I knew.
You know, the cows need milking. I don't care how much your fever is.
Yeah.
You got to get out there and get it done. And
Don't know what's going on in
you
the
don't know
city.
what's going on, but
It's time to plow.
It's time to plow. You got to do it.
So,
oh my goodness.
With that said, what we're going to do right now is we're going to go to a tribute to Little Richard.
Yay.
Not in sight. I asked my friends about her, but all the list was tight. Lucy, please come back where you belong. I beg her to you, baby, please don't leave me alone. Woo! morning, Lucy was not in sight. I asked my friends about her, but all they lips were tight. Lucy, please come back where you belong. I've been good to you, baby. Please don't leave me alone. Lucy, baby, satisfy my heart. Lucy, baby, satisfy my heart. Lucy, please come back where you belong. Lucy, please come back where you belong. I've been good to you, baby. Please don't leave me alone. I woke up this morning, Lucy was not in sight. I asked my friends about her, but all their lips was tight. Lucy, please come back where you belong. I've been good to you, baby. Please don't leave me alone. I woke up this morning, Lucy was not in sight. I asked my friends about her, but all they lips were tight. Lucy, please come back where you belong. I've been good to you, baby. Please don't leave me alone. Lucy, baby, satisfy my heart. Lucy, baby, satisfy my heart. I believe I went to baby and gave you such a wonderful start.
Well, it's Saturday night and I just got paid. Fool about my money, don't try to save. Hot days go, go, have a time. Saturday night, now I'm feeling fine. I'm gonna rock it up. I'm gonna rip it up. I'm gonna shake it up. Gonna ball it up. I'm gonna rock it up and ball tonight. Well, along about 10, I'll be flying high. Rock on out into the sky. I don't care if it's in the door. Tonight I'm gonna be one half full. I'm gonna rock it up. Woo! Rip it up. I'm gonna shake it up. Gonna ball it up. I'm gonna rock it up and ball tonight. Woo! Saturday night and I just got paid. Fool about my money, don't try to save. Hard day, go, go, have a time. Saturday night, now I'm feeling fine. Woo! I rip it up. I'm gonna shake it up. Gonna ball. I'm gonna rock it up and ball tonight. Well, along about 10, I'll be flying high. Rock on out into the sky. I don't care if it's in the door. Tonight I'm gonna be one half full. I'm gonna rock it up. Woo! Yeah, yeah, rip it up. I'm gonna shake it up. Gonna ball it up. I'm gonna rock it up and ball tonight. Well, it's Saturday night and I just got paid. Fool about my money, don't try to save. Hard day, go, go, have a time. Saturday night, now I'm feeling fine. I'm gonna rock it up. Woo! Yeah, yeah, rip it up. I'm gonna shake it up. Gonna ball it up. I'm gonna rock it up and ball tonight.
It's guest time on American Bandstand, and ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure to introduce a man who has broken records all over the world. Here's Little Richard.
We call her the great
welcome. Come sit down, won't you? Oh, my. You are amongst friends, you can tell. I'll hold on for a half second because this man has got a lot to talk about. Now, you have traveled all over the world. You have seen so many of the artists of the... I want to ask you about other people before we get to you. You've worked with the Beatles, have you not?
I've just finished a tour with the Beatles. In fact, I toured with the Beatles right before they made their first hit, and I was the star of the show. You wouldn't believe it.
No, I could believe it, but you mean they weren't heard of at that point?
They have never made a record at the time, and I accepted them on my show through Germany. I was with them for 15 days. In fact, I made this picture here
Let me see if I can...
with the Beatles, and that was right before that they got their start. And
Look at Ringo here. He's changed a good deal since then.
yes, he's a wonderful person.
Let me turn from the Beatles to other English artists. They're all doing your material. They're doing Chuck Berry's material. Of course, they're doing their own. Who's the biggest star in England right now?
The Rolling Stones.
Really?
Yeah.
Have they taken over from the Beatles?
Well, I just left England about 4 weeks ago. I did a tour over in England and Germany and all, and the Rolling Stones, they're #1 in England at the present time.
People here are beginning to talk about a group called the Animals. What are they?
I've just finished a tour with the Animals. And
That sounds kind of funny.
I've just left them. I was with Chuck Berry and the Animals just about 4 weeks ago in England. And the Animals are really, to me, they are the best group I've ever heard.
Now, here's the thing that I was getting at. You and Chuck have kind of taken England by storm. How do you feel about other people borrowing your material?
Well, Dick, I must be truthful. I'm very grateful to know that my material is the type of material that the entertainers today would like to use.
Well, that's good. Now, let's turn to you specifically in this country. You're working on the Hollywood Palace with Steve Allen. You're going out on tour. You're going to go up to San Francisco?
Yes, my first date with my tour will be September the 11th. I'm going to appear at Hollywood Bowl along with the Beach Boys.
Well, that'll be a gas. And this is in September?
September the 11th.
And then you go up to the Cow Palace?
Palace in Frisco. Then I go to Carnegie Hall for Mary Lee Kay.
Oh, it's going to be a gas. I got to catch you along the way. Will you spend a few minutes at our autograph table?
I'll be very, very glad to.
Nice
Dave.
to have you with us.
Thank you.
Little Richard, ladies and gentlemen. We'll join you at the autograph table. We'll be back in just a moment.
Oh, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the paint. Uh-oh. I just knocked a tree over. This is the paint doctor. I got the color wheel. Now, you know what a color wheel is? It is the wheel at the paint works where you pick all your colors to paint your room. It could be a multicolored beard. It could be a underarm fan. You never can tell. One thing we do know is that it's time to paint. You know, you can make your wife very happy if you go to your house and paint some rooms, or you paint the outside of the house, the inside of the house. It makes them feel very good because you work hard for them and they like that. All women like to see their man sweat, you know? They do. Honeydew is what they do. And you get to do it too. So you go to the paint works at 1960 North Washington Street and you see David Heikkinen over there, and he's the real paint doctor. He fix you up with color. It's so nice when the color is right. Go to Paintworks today. Martin Senor. See? Martin Senor. Right there. Martin Senor at the Paintworks. Bye, and we see you next time. I'm burning up.
You know what, guys? There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, folks, we're back, and with all of this stuff going on that we've been involved in for the last couple of months, people are utilizing their employees in different ways because we're finding out just how much, and a lot of people are finding out just how much their employees can do that they didn't realize. Well, Philip Scoggins, of course, we've always known that our producer, Philip Scoggins, is a crackerjack, but he's going out and getting a few videos now and doing some other things other than sitting behind a bunch of knobs back there at the control panel. So he went out and met with Susan Johnson of Isaiah 117 and got an interview with her about what they do, and we're going to bring that to you right now.
I'm Philip Scoggins today. I'm speaking with Susan Johnson with Isaiah 117. She's the program coordinator for Coffee Franklin and Grundy County. Thank you for speaking with us today.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm so excited to talk to you.
Okay. Well, for those who are new to your organization, can you briefly explain a little bit about what Isaiah 117 is all about?
Yes. It provides care for children who are awaiting foster placement. So the way the current system is, when a child is removed by the Department of Children's Services, they go wait in an office, a conference room, and sometimes in Grundy County, the county jail, while the caseworker is trying to find foster placement. But if we have an Isaiah 117 house, instead that caseworker will take that child there, where volunteers are there ready to meet the needs of that child and just help assist that caseworker. And also, we're also wanting to ease that foster family transition. So in Isaiah 117 house, it has 3 parts to the mission. And the first is we want to step in early and reduce that trauma for that child. And second, we want to partner with DCS and come alongside of them with what is a very impossible and hard job. And third, we want to ease that foster family transition. So when they leave the Isaiah house, that child is going to leave with things, because most times the children do not have anything with them. And so they'll leave with their school supplies. They're going to leave with their clothes. And if they need a booster seat or pack and play, they're going to leave with those things. And so that's what the Isaiah 117 house is all about.
Okay. So, and the last time that I spoke to you, you had just surpassed your goal for building a house in the area. Can you update us on what's going along with that?
Well, we did. Our goal was initially, we needed an initial $150,000 in order to start building. And we did reach that goal after our dinner in February, which was a wonderful night. And now we're just in the process of tentatively planning things. COVID-19, it did come in. Our next function was going to be our contractor's dinner, and we were already planning that for April, and we had to cancel that. So that will be our next thing. So our expansion team is already planning that, and as soon as things get back to normal and groups of people can gather together, we're going to have a contractors and builder supply dinner. That will be the next step to see who wants to step up, what they want to help do with the house. Because even though that sounds like a lot of money that we surpassed that 150, you've got to look at our budget is $75,000 for the year. We may have to pay for property, and then the house is amazing. It's going to have a visitation space on the end of it. So you're talking about, 2 full baths and then 2 half baths. So you're talking about a lot of square footage there too. So we really need to have that contractor center to see what support we can get from the community.
Okay. And where did the plans come from for the house?
Those come from Carter County. They have a builder, and so each time that they've built or remodeled a house, they see, what things didn't work. And so that's great for us, because then they've realized that they need more storage. And so they've got like an upstairs room that's designed for storage, and which is really good because your older kids, it's set up like a store. So they'll be able to come in and shop for themselves instead of us just picking something out for them. They'll actually, have some choices in that.
Great. Well, since you brought up coronavirus, how is what Isaiah 117 does changed recently because of that?
You know, for Isaiah 117 House, you know, we're not able to go to meetings, and, you know, we had to change our contractors dinner. So our expansion committee meetings we're doing them by Zoom. So we're still getting to meet. But one thing is DCS, a lot of people don't realize this, even though the coronavirus has come through, it's not stopped for DCS. Children are still being removed, which is hard to hear because they're already scared. And so with that being said, this has been a good time to reach out to DCS and say, you know, what can we help you do? Because they're still going into homes. You know, they can't just stop. A lot of people don't realize they're working from home, but they're still going into those homes. They're still taking care of these children. So we were able to reach out to them. They needed some supplies like masks and Germ-X and hand sanitizer, just things that are really hard to get right now. And the community stepped up and we were able to meet that need, which is wonderful. One other thing that we're doing, and this is the whole Isaiah 117 House organization, the ministry, is we decided to reach out to DCS and see if they have some families that have been hit really hard right now, and if they may need, you know, just a little extra loving on. So, you know, they're inside with their kids, and so we're trying to come up with some activities that we can send home with those kids, things that they can do to be involved and make this time a little better for them. So DCS has sent me some names, and so our volunteers are going to put some Love You're Not Alone bags together. One family's going to be getting actually a baby bed and mattress and supplies that they need to go with that. So we're hoping it'll make things a little easier for some of the families and bring them a little joy and let them know that somebody does care.
Okay. Do you have a story about a child or some siblings that have been helped recently with Isaiah 117 that you could share with our viewers?
I know that around probably Christmas time was one of the times that I can just remember off the top of my head that I had the personal interaction of getting to help. A child had been removed around Christmas time, and they were a teenager, and teenagers are very hard to place. And so we reached out because this placement was not a typical placement. The judge had to authorize it. They had no place for this child to go besides a juvenile detention center. And so thank goodness that judge really, you know, was able to find someone that was willing to take this child in about a week before Christmas. And so with that being said, I remember sitting in my chair thinking, I've got all this Christmas shopping to do for my family that I've not done. And it's the Saturday right before Christmas. And then I thought of that child and thought, was that foster family able to go and even get the things that child needed? Did that child take anything with them? What about Christmas? You know, were they going to have anything? And so I reached out to some people and everybody wanted to help. And so we were able to buy some things for that child for Christmas and then just, you know, supply the needs. And I was able to go and do that delivery. And it was very special to see that child come in and the look on their face. And I get emotional because I kept thinking, I don't want to cry when I saw that teenager. And I said, we just want you to know someone cares and that we love you and we're going to walk this journey with you. And my son was with me, and he's 24, and you should have seen the look on his face when we got in the car. He said, when that child came in, he said, the look on their face, and then when we were leaving, the difference in that look. Just knowing that somebody cares. And so I was able to give them my card and said, you know, whatever this child needs, you know, wherever they go, school supplies, clothes, whatever, that's what we're here for. But they knew when I came in, they said, you're from the Isaiah 117 house. So I was just glad to be able to help.
Yes, definitely. So can you tell us how Isaiah 117 is funded? And if somebody wants to help out, you know, how can they get in touch with you or the organization for that?
We're funded primarily through donors, churches, donations, and some private grants. So if someone wants to make a donation, there's a couple ways they can do it. They can reach out to me. My number is on our Facebook page, Isaiah 117 House, Coffee, Franklin, and Grundy. I'll be glad. Some people want to give it to you in person. That's fine. Some people want to mail it to me. I can give them my address. I can also take a credit card on my phone. They can also go to Isaiah117house.com, and you click on donate, and there's a drop-down box for our 3 counties, for Coffee, Franklin, and Grundy. And you can decide there if you want to do it by check, credit card. There's tons of options. You can do it one time. You can do monthly, yearly. Right now, if you're a monthly donor, you're getting the cool Isaiah 117 House socks, and that's the only way you can get them. You cannot purchase those socks. It's only for the monthly donors.
Okay. Well, great. I appreciate you speaking with us today, and hopefully things will get back to normal, and you guys can start construction here before too long. Help out kids.
That's our goal, because there's kids still being removed no matter what's happening with the virus. And it's a hard time on kids because they're home and no one's able to see those kids sometimes to report what's going on. So it'll be nice for things to get back to normal where we can really lay eyes on these kids.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for speaking with us.
Thank you so much.
Here at Manchester Funeral Home, we know the importance of living and working in our local community because it's those families who we serve during their time of need honorably. We believe in supporting local business and offer only 100% Batesville caskets, the best in the industry and a driver of our local economy. If you want straightforward and fair pricing while working with the people you know, choose Manchester Funeral Home, serving your community since 1932. And pre-planning and pre-funding can be the best gift you ever leave your loved ones. Call us to pre-arrange. Manchester Funeral Home. Our family caring for your family since 1932.
If you want to be a parent, it doesn't matter how you play, what you wear, how you dance, or even what direction life takes you. You just need to be there. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
How long has it been since you raced a cheetah? Are your tornado creating skills getting rusty? Tired of being the only one in your neighborhood who hasn't built a dinosaur? Sounds like it's time to visit the Hands-On Science Center. The Hands-On Science Center is an indoor science playground. In this museum, please touch is the rule. Join us for weekly science demonstrations on space, lasers, lizards, rocks, and a whole lot more. No two visits are ever the same, so visit often to see our ever-changing exhibits and demonstrations. The Hands-On Science Center, 101 Mitchell Boulevard in Tullahoma.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
At this moment, we're proud to bring you some clips from highlights of Bonnaroo 2010.
Happy Bonnaroo! Buying grass, and see him fall. The deaf, deaf, and blind kid sure played.
Fast as you can be, deep the shade of blue. When you're feeling low, oh, don't let us do go. See, I'd cry if you would. I'd give you my last shirt because I love you. Now if my sky should fall, would you even call? I've opened up my heart, I never want part. I'm giving you a ball.
Go on stepping on my time for a while. Money's low and my suit's on style, but it's alright if my clothes are new. Out of sight because my heart is true. She said, baby, everything's alright. Outside, out of sight, baby, everything is alright. Outside, it's clean outside. Play by ear and I sleep beneath the piano, just like that's my natural home. With all its keys, I never feel alone.
Istanbul, Constantinople now. Istanbul, Constantinople now. Hometown town, Constantinople now. Church of life, I'm moving now. Africa, Constantinople, there's an Istanbul, Constantinople. So if you would take Constantinople, should be waiting in Istanbul. Even old New York was once near Amsterdam. Why they changed it, I can't say. People just liked it better that way. No, you can't go back to Constantinople. Been a long time gone. Constantinople, why did Constantinople get the worst? That's nobody business but the Turks.
Love you, Dave!
Once you hit your gate, you've been walking the talk. You said you never did, 'cause you might die trying. You might die trying. Because the house is on fire, you think you could. Not until that fire dies, the things you never did. Yes, you might die trying. You might die trying. Be as good as
Hi, I'm Cindy.
And I'm Jacob. I'm the Rooster.
And I'm the Red Maiden. And we would like to welcome you to
Roosterwear.
Yes, Roosterwear is a cottage industry producing accessories for men, women, children, babies, and pets. All items are hand cut and sewn locally. Roosterwear specializes in bow ties, pocket squares, scarves, cufflinks, neckties, and aprons of all sizes for all ages. Baby products include onesies, diaper covers, bibs, and burp pads. All bow ties, tie it yourself or pre-tied, come with an adjustable neckband. All products can be made with the material of your choice, as special orders are available upon request. Don't be standing back looking at fashion. Create your own with Roosterwear.
come visit us at
roosterandredmaiden.com.
to find our handcrafted designs for
The Cock of the Walk.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Since the moment you were born, I've made 1,000 wishes. Wishes for your future in a world that's changing fast. Do play and laugh. Do win and lose. Do it all with confidence, kindness, and strength. And always do your best to remember that no matter what you do in this life, what matters to me is that you keep doing.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back, and a couple of years ago, several years ago, I started a group of videos, shows that I call Melodies Wrapped Around Life, and they're basically about the music business, and I've interviewed everybody from Chase Clanton to Janie Price, Ray Price's wife, to David Gogo, the Jimi Hendrix in Canada, Stevie Ray Vaughan in Canada, just all kinds of folks, and it's not necessarily about being an artist and how much fun it is to be an artist. It's more about the journey and how people get there. But I had an opportunity to interview Rob Galbraith, and Rob Galbraith is an interesting individual. He was a radio disc jockey and met Ronnie Millsap when he was DJing in Knoxville, and he'll tell the story about that, but he's Ronnie's partner, publishing partner, manager, and had produced most all of Ronnie's music. And he came in one day with a young lady, Jessie Keys, and did a show with me, and that's what we're going to bring you right now, Melodies Wrapped Around Life with Rob Galbraith. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so thrilled today to have the opportunity to speak with someone I've known for several years and someone you've known probably for generations, some of you. He's the storied Nashville record producer, Mr. Rob Galbraith. And Rob has been gracious enough to come on stage with us today, get in front of the camera. He's usually in front of a microphone or behind a soundboard.
Yeah, I'm more comfortable there than I am right here.
Right here.
Sure. Yeah.
But Rob has done many things throughout his career, and I know one of the things that he's done and done well is produced the great star Ronnie Millsap for several years, hadn't you, Rob?
Mm-hmm.
What actually got you started in this music business? You've been in Nashville, what, 47 years?
Yeah, been in there a while.
How'd you get there?
I-70, Highway 70 came in from Knoxville down here before the interstates, as a matter of fact. I was playing in bands in high school and then in college, and then I got off into radio. And then when I was on radio in Knoxville at WNOX, we covered the whole Southeast at night time,
right.
AM rock. And Ronnie was down in Atlanta, and he used to hear me. So when he came up to when he was doing on a record label, he was kind of like the white Ray Charles.
Right.
So he came out and did a promotion show up there in Knoxville, and he used to listen to me on the air, and so he wanted to meet me. So we met and became friends, and so that was like in '66, and so we've been running around together since then for a long time. And then he moved to Memphis. I'd go down there and visit him down there, and then he moved to Nashville, and we started a publishing company together in '78, and I've been doing it basically since '78, off and on for 37 years or whatever. We've been working together, and I had a couple of record deals thrown at me from Columbia as an artist, and then later on RCA, but I didn't seem to gravitate toward that as much as I did the production end of it. And production and publishing, so I've kind of stayed in that more. But then I still go out every now and then with some guys and play a little bit once every 6 or 7 months, whether there's a public outcry or not. we go out.
Well, I know I saw some of your footage on YouTube, and y'all were playing Shame, Shame, Shame.
Yeah, that was Jimmy Reed thing. It's like I've functioned basically. They do mainly except for that, and a few other songs. They do things that I wrote at one time. And I basically function as the female chick singer. I know that's redundant, but it's the second term in the business, the female chick singer. And I just basically get the song started, then spend the next 4 minutes trying to stop those whatnots.
Yeah.
Because there's some pretty good players.
Oh, the people that you play with are exceptional.
Yeah,
exceptional.
they really are, man.
You know, a statement you made earlier about Ronnie Millsap seeking you out because you were a disc jockey that he liked. You know, that was back in the days when the disc jockey made a whole lot of difference to the artist.
Yeah.
Because the disc jockey had just a little bit of say of what played on his show.
When I first started working at NOX, nobody wanted to be the music director, so they gave it to me as like a 21-year-old kid or something, man. And so you know, we played a lot more R&B than probably they needed. But then they later on, Johnny Perkle took it over. But yeah, we had discretion on a lot of songs we could play, and some songs we would make successful in the area that weren't hits necessarily anywhere else.
Right.
You know, a lot of the Carolina beach songs and stuff like that. But Millsap down in Atlanta, we covered all the way from Baltimore down to Savannah and Mobile, and so Ronnie, we met because he used to listen to the stuff, and we become business partners and really close friends over the last 100 years.
100 years?
Yeah.
Who else have you worked with? I know in reading about you and looking at your discography that you had some Clifford Curry, did some work with Clifford Curry.
That's what brought me to Nashville. I got Clifford. I did some demos on him. Clifford's a black dude, African American. I guess now I refer to myself as Appalachian American.
Yeah.
I'm from East Tennessee.
There you go.
But Clifford, I played in bands with Clifford, and we did some demos on him, and then a couple other guys later on. And I took him down to Nashville and just knocked on doors. And I was working at the radio station at night and going to school, and on the days off, I wasn't in school. I would leave early in the morning, come down here, and I'd run across people who were country.
Right.
I'd find myself sitting across the desk from somebody that I had nothing in common with, and I finally found Buzz Cason and Matt Gaden, and then I got these guys record deals, and then later on I moved to Nashville to kind of manage their career, one thing or another, and then I wrote a song or so. Then Billy Sherrill heard the song I wrote and signed me as an artist and had me do an album, and then one thing led to another, you know. But Clifford I worked with, and then during that year of working with Columbia, after I did an album for Columbia for Sherrill, I went to New York and interviewed for an A&R position there in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
And Billy had me go up there and do it, and they hired me to do rock. Find a rock artist and pop out of Nashville back in 1970, which to this day I'm not sure a major record label has somebody there just strictly for rock or pop. And I found several things. You know, one of them told Jesse, she's a big fan of, was Johnny Cale, who JJ Cale was.
Right.
I took his stuff up there, and I cut some stuff on a guy named Harry Chapin in New York, and I tried to get him to sign Harry. Most of the people I took them who later on succeeded, they couldn't hear it.
Couldn't hear it at that point.
You know, and they succeeded later on in spite of that. But it was a frustrating and rewarding time because I got to work right beside Billy. I had an office right beside his, and I learned a lot.
Billy just passed recently.
He died about 2 weeks ago, something like that. 2-3 weeks ago. Yeah, he was my favorite country producer. I used to go down to Studio B where he cut. He pretty much had Studio B blocked out every day at 2:00, and I would go down there, watch him record, and I wish I'd spent more time in the control room with him, but I've spent more time out on the floor. And sometimes I just go down with had no Telecaster and plug into there. At those places back then, the studios, you didn't have cartage services, and the studios would have the drums set up, and they'd have amplifiers, so the musicians would just bring what they had to play in, plug in.
Right.
And
because they had the sound the way it needed.
Yeah,
to
and
be.
they didn't. Yeah, exactly. The drum set at Columbia Studio B was leaked into a lot of stuff, but that leakage is part of the charm of it, and so the guys didn't have to schlep a whole lot of gear around. They just used what was there, you know. And so I would go down and kind of visit Studio B. I love that Quonset hut, the old studio. When Owen Bradley put that Quonset hut there in whenever it was, late 50s, early 60s, that's what started Music Row on 16th Avenue South.
Right.
If he'd have put it in Tullahoma, Music Row would be right down here.
Right.
You know, if they had musicians down here. But he happened to put it there, and that's where it all built around that.
I guess my next question is, How do you see Nashville music, the music scene in Nashville? What's changed now from 35, 40 years ago? It's much more diversified, isn't it?
Oh, it's pretty much exactly the same. You know, I don't see any difference. Well, I mean, my gosh, it's a world of difference. You know, back then, it was really what the foundation of country music. You know, when you had the Hank Williams, and then later on you had the George Jones era and such like that. And then it's gotten where it's pretty much more of a pop type, what used to be pop back in the 60s or 70s. And nowadays you got the whole bro country thing. And I felt for the last 10 to 15 years, there's been so much emphasis put on co-writing. And it's a political thing for to get a couple of publishers, you know, and you get a lot of these people co-writing. And the more people you got involved, the more chances you got people working on a song, trying to get someone to record it. But I felt that there's been a dearth of great songs in Nashville. And I haven't heard, you know, and the melodies and such, man, I can count on one hand the people I think are real bona fide, no-lie composers, you know. And you don't have to be a great musician to be a wonderful composer. Like Christopherson wrote some wonderful melodies, but Chris couldn't play more than probably 4 chords.
Right.
You know, but you know, this changed a lot, man. The whole bro country thing. A lot of people in Nashville seem to think it's going to run its course, and I hope it does. It'll change the record labels as long as they're making money off of what they're doing. They will not change it. You have to show them a way, and you have to. Some artist has to come along and show them a different way. And Taylor Swift was different, but they couldn't clone her. They couldn't capture that. Right. So someone will come along and show them a different path, and it'll morph. But it's right now it's been for the last several years. I felt it's been very uncreative.
You know, when we were at the Opry the night that they had the salute to Ray Price, and I was invited up there along with some of the other people involved in that album, there was a young man, Chris Jansen, on stage, and man, was I impressed with him. Mm-hmm. He looked like a Hank Williams Sr. with an electric guitar, and I mean, he had it.
A lot of talented guys, man. You know, if they get a chance to break through, then it'll be wonderful. It's all about. I tell people, timing, talent, and perseverance, and unfortunately, talent sometimes maybe the least important of the three. You've got to hang in there and get some kind of positive feedback, and have to stay with it until the time comes that everything seems to work out, and then hopefully you've got some modicum of talent to be able to make that work.
Right.
And if you do, and if you're really talented, then you got a career. But it's a wonderful business. I've been able to do it and make a living at it for a long time, and I'm happy with it. And I'm happier with the people I'm working with right now than I have been ever. And the situations, I believe in these folks, and doing a new thing on Millsap right now. It's mainly about 3/4 of it are going to be duets. Mm-hmm. 3 or 4 songs will be running by himself, and the rest of them will be like duets with Keith Urbans and the Jason Aldeans and the Luke Bryans and people like that. The gist of it being, do your favorite Ronnie Millsap song with Ronnie Millsap. So Ronnie doesn't have to learn the song.
He already
knows his band knows it. So we're going to start cutting that like in a couple of weeks. And
that's great.
And this young lady who I want you to check out here in a minute, Jessie, we started using her as like a practice partner to try to work up arrangements so that in case Miranda Lambert or somebody did it, we'd have the arrangement worked up already. And Ronnie fell in love with her vocal and with her as a person. And so now she's on the album doing 1 or maybe 2 songs.
And she's smiling. She's over there smiling.
She's the real deal. And Jessie just turned 20. She's just out of her teenage years. And she's a sweet child.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
The only way we can solve Nashville's problem is to find a better song and find a better artist with a great pure soul and a heart that goes along with the words that he or she is singing, and she's getting ready to come up on stage right now, the person who can do that. All right, folks, what we want to do now is introduce you to Jessie Key, who is on the stage with us now, and again with Rob Galbraith. And Jessie,
yes, sir.
Girl from Kentucky.
Yes, sir.
Found your way to Nashville.
I did. I found my way to Nashville, finally.
Yeah, I had a track that I'd done on somebody, a girl who kind of quit the business, and so I had this track. I've been looking for somebody to sing it, and I put several people on it in Nashville. And so I thought, well, maybe her voice will fit with it. And I think before she ever put her voice on it, she played me a tape of a little EP she and another guy, part of a duet, had out, and I heard about 10 seconds of one song where I heard what I wanted to hear. And after about 10 to 15 seconds, seriously, I said, if you want a producer, you've got one. You know, it was like you could tell right off.
I tell you what are y'all going to do? Y'all going to do
We're going to do
bits
just
and pieces
a section of about 4 songs, just to give you an idea of a little cross section of what Jessie does.
What you can do.
This first one is part of that. Is a groove track, man. It's almost like an It's Your Thing or something. But this is the one I was going to put her voice on, and we did. And
kind of like an answer to the, like the cat calls of Bro Country, like the
right.
Hey girl, it's kind of the reverse.
It's the girl intimidating the boy,
They all intimidate me.
Hey there, boy, do your daddy let you date? Hey there, boy, do your daddy let you date? We're gonna stay out late. On a scale of 1 to 10, he's about an 8. You can ride me around this little old town and buy my dinner plate. I said, hey there, boy, do your daddy let you date? Do you date? Ask your daddy. Ask your daddy. Do you date? Oh, ask your daddy. Ask your daddy.
There you go.
There we go. So there's a first verse. My loves, come along. My lonely days are over. And life is like a song. Oh, yeah, at last. The skies above are blue. My heart was wrapped up in clover. The night I looked at you, I found a dream that I could speak to, a dream that I can call my own. I found a thrill to press my cheek to, a thrill that I have never known. Oh, you smile. Oh, and then the spell was cast. And here we are in heaven. For you are mine. At last. Oh, baby.
Oh, wait.
You gotta throw oh, baby in there. Whatever happened to the yodeling cowgirls that rode across the silver screen? The ones who rode with Roy and all the other boys who rode their Angel Tex and Jean. Whatever happened to the yodeling cowgirls Choche, I'm the lady of the lady, lady, lady. High chair Choche, I'm the lady of the lady, lady, lady. Oh, yeah.
I butchered that, no end.
We certainly do appreciate you taking your time to come down here and be with us today. It's just been delightful, and we wish you all the best of the future. And I know that it's just all you have to do is just go to sleep and wake up a few more days, and that great big bright future will be waiting on you, because you have all kinds of talent. Rob, thanks for coming down, buddy.
Man, my pleasure.
And just know that you're welcome. Anytime, we'd love to have you come back and see us and keep us posted.
We're going to come back down here. We're going to come back down to Daddy Billy's to get about to eat.
Oh, my gosh.
Jesse's falling in love with Tullahoma.
I'm done. Tullahoma, y'all made it so, we had an absolute blast today.
Well, folks, thanks a whole lot. And until next time, be safe, be successful, have fun.
Thank you, John.
The main thing out of all of this is it ain't no good unless it's fun to do. Don't punish yourself. Have fun.
I think you can see we're having fun. John Andre Gray. John Gray, Andre.
Yeah. You talked to Florence, didn't you? Yeah. Okay.
Andre, that's right.
Folks, we'll be back after this, okay?
My great-grandfather started it in 1900. And now it's 2020, which is 120 years. We still measure your feet, still try to help you find a good fit. We're just a good old-fashioned shoe store where we'll measure your feet, make sure you're in the right size, and help you find a comfortable shoe for men, women, and children.
We're gonna fit your style. We're gonna make you smile. Service and quality at Clayton Shoe Store. We're gonna fit your style.
Ah, the glory days. Running to daylight on the gridiron, and chasing a ball with a mind of its own, cheering the team to victory, and marching to the beat of your own drum. Memories that last a lifetime. But sometimes we're reminded of our glory days in ways we'd rather forget. Get back in the game. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live and play well.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Talking history about this and that. It's conversations with John and Pat. With John and Pat. With John and Pat.
Hello everyone, I'm John Rickman, and this is Pat Welch, and we're here for the 13th installment of Conversations with John and Pat. 13, John, and it's not going to be unlucky. You're going to remember your song lines.
Lots of times these
We've only
words,
had one time we had trouble.
Only one song out of the number that we've done, and I just politely laid my guitar down, as you remember, and said, let's start again some other day.
It was deft the way you did that. It was just
really
handled it well.
Well, I've
John.
been playing a long time, and I've done things like that before.
Oh yeah, you'd practiced up.
I want to sing one about two snake doctors and a butterfly. That sounds like a real cultural type of song.
That's me and you, cultural.
Out in the middle field at 2:30 with a case of shells and a bucket of brew, an empty game sack and a 12-gauge gun, gonna shoot me doves until I get me a ton. Well, the fence rows are lined up with good old boys, shooting their guns with a terrible noise. Zoom go the birds and pow go my shots, but I only hit places where the doves are not. Well, I keep on shooting and my gun gets hot, but the birds that fall are not the ones I shot. For all I bring down from the sunny sky is just 2 snake doctors and a butterfly. Well, 2 snake doctors and a butterfly is all I brought down from the sunny sky. It's enough to make a grown man cry. 2 snake doctors and a butterfly. Sneaking up behind us, the game warden comes, says, empty them sacks, let me see what you done. He takes one look and he howls with glee, you're the worst darn shooter that I ever did see. My wife says, honey, I'm ready to cook, but I can't find the recipe in my book. I don't know whether to bake or fry these 2 snake doctors and a butterfly. Well, 2 snake doctors and a butterfly is all I brought down from the sunny sky. It's enough to make a grown man cry. 2 snake doctors and a butterfly. You know, I think we'll have to dedicate that to hunters in this community. My son Chris hunts. I know Joe Lester's a hunter. Mike Green?
Mike Green is, Bush Toma. They, they've got a duck hunting club in Arkansas that it takes a whole lot of prestige to be invited into that crew.
You don't mean it.
They've got a second generation of young men going over there with them now.
Well, our church has wild game dinners, and that they invite hunters, people that come in to enjoy the wild game meals, and so. There are a lot of hunters. We can't mention them all because there are just so many that do that. Frankly, I don't enjoy it that much. So I'd rather just be back at the cabin cooking the meal for whoever's hunting, I guess.
Well, you mentioned Joe Lester, and he hunts far and wide. There's a story we definitely can't tell on the air about hunting doves in Argentina, and I've seen a picture of that hunt, and there's doves stacked up like.
You don't mean it.
Oh, it's incredible, and they shared it with the people there that needed food.
Is that right? It's great.
Where are we going, John?
Well, we've got a friend named George Orr that is certainly someone that all Tullahoma remembers, and he was from Chapel Hill. He was from my hometown of Chapel Hill. So
and proud of it.
And proud of it, and George and I had a good relationship, and you did. He liked us because we made fun of him. We go to Rotary, and they would mention, and we have visiting today from the Morning Sunrise Club, Mr. George Orr, and everybody would boo.
The only Rotary's pretty prim and proper, and he's the only guest or club member at one time that was ever booed, but he really enjoyed it.
Yeah. He loved being booed.
Yeah.
But George is there's a picture of George sitting on his porch over there at Courtside, and Laura, in his failing years there, Laura invited Pat and Beth and Barb and my wife and myself over to have a meal with George that night. We had a great time. That was George, that particular
And we had a fish
night.
Fry from fish that came out of one of your ponds.
Yeah,
and
a little pond out at Normandy.
That had kind of a country feel that George really did enjoy that.
I remember once I gave George a mess of fish. He loved fried fish. Well, Laura was a great cook, and I put them in a bowl about like that, and when she returned that bowl, of course she had cleaned it, but there was a banana pudding in that bowl that was out of this world. But Laura was a good lady, and George a good fella. You just had to know how to take him.
Yeah, not too seriously at times, but he was a character. He, not too many segments ago, John, you talked about Bessie, the cow that you'd written about. Bessie, the cow on George's home farm when he was in high school, let him down one night, and that George played football at Chapel Hill, and I imagine this powerful built, kind of stubby like he was, he's probably a pretty good guard, and that's what he was a guard, but he would have, before practice and games, he had to go home and milk. And on a game night, Bessie was not very cooperative, and George was late getting back to the to the dressing area, and the coach was really upset about it, and told him to dress as fast as he could. And right before they were to go out, George still hadn't had his shoulder pads on, and for punishment, the coach made George play a first half of a high school football game with no shoulder pads. And I bet that was a real sight to see him pulling on those old single wing type plays with no face mask and no shoulder pads.
George Orr, there won't be many people like him that ever, of course he was mayor of Tullahoma
for
several
terms.
We love George, and we love Laura too, and we're just glad we could mention his name.
Laura was easier to love than George was, but both of them were great people.
Great couple.
And that, it looks like to me, is from the signs from the production crew. We're winding up segment 13, and John, it was not unlucky. It was a great segment, but
Yes,
it's not
sir.
the rest. It's not the end of the stories. We've got more to come as long as the P-Head people say we can do it.
Talking history about this and that. It's conversations with John and Pat. With John and Pat. With John and Pat.
Smoking tobacco accounts for 3 of every 10 fire deaths in the United States.
Tullahoma Fire Department needs you en route to a structure fire, 202 Main Street. Heavy smoke showing. Neighbors advise child trapped inside.
Lighters, matches, and associated smoking paraphernalia are the leading cause of preschooler fire deaths. We as firefighters know that most structure fires can be prevented.
I've got one! Command, this is primary search. We have a victim. Need EMS to meet us at the front door.
Please help us to give you a fighting chance. This can be prevented. Contact the Tullahoma Fire Department for a free home safety inspection.
What's a Tennessee vacation? It starts off like any road trip, and then, boom, adventure and thrills everywhere you look, which happens to be some of the most beautiful scenery in the country. Music here, history there, and all kinds of green in between. Come relax and unwind, or bring the crowd for some stargazing, or stargazing. Whatever you do, come hungry and expect an awesome soundtrack. It's all right here in Tennessee. We're playing your song. For a free vacation guide, visit tnvacation.com.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, folks, we're back, and hey, we've had a good show today. We hope
some
you've
great
enjoyed
things on the show
the
today,
music.
yeah.
Can that Jesse Keys sing?
Wow.
At last.
That was fabulous.
That was really good.
I really
Rob
liked her.
Galbraith, great guy. You know, it's funny. I want to make an announcement to you folks, because I think it's okay that I do. We had a conversation yesterday, Fran did, with our friend Demetria Kaladimos,
Oh, really?
who worked at Channel 4 for 30 years, the #1 news reporter in Nashville.
Right.
And of course, she came down and judged our Derby hat contest for South Jackson one year.
Right.
And Fran had talked to her about some stuff that she would like to have Demetria be involved with, and she and another gentleman have purchased the Nashville Banner,
And they're going
the
to...
newspaper, and they are relaunching the Nashville Banner
How interesting.
as a non-biased news service.
How nice.
and which is absolutely
That is
incredible because it will have
incredible,
no political bias about it.
Just,
and of course, it won't be a paper to start off with, but it will be a blog, and it will be online news like most everybody does. And she's very, very excited, and we're very excited for her,
yes,
and
that's
very
wonderful.
excited for us because this puts back in front of us one of our great news people who told the truth and gave you an opportunity to hear everything back in front of us in Demetria Caladimo. So we're going to have her
That is
down.
fabulous.
We're
She's
going to
gonna
have
come
her
down
down
and talk?
soon and come talk about it. So keep that on your mind. We got to go. Thanks for watching. Be safe out there and stay well. We'll see you next time.